Let me say this very clearly. If you are still practicing jazz guitar by running scales up and down, hoping that one day your solo will connect, that is not patience, that is not discipline, that is avoidance. And I am not saying this to insult you. I am saying this because most serious jazz guitar players are stuck for the same reason. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack talent, but because they were taught the wrong starting point. Hi, my name is Junon Choi. I'm a jazz guitarist and educator. For the last several years, I have been passing down the apprenticeship based way I learned jazz guitar, not shortcuts, not tricks, but how this music actually get internalized. I am not saying scales are evil. I use scales, everyone does, but here is the truth no one tells you. Scales do not explain jazz. Melody does. Jazz did not grow out of scale exercises. Jazz grew out of songs. Before improvisation, there was melody. Before theory, there was a tune people could sing. And yet, most guitar education starts by saying, forget the song, forget the melody. Here is the scale. Now figure it out. Sound familiar? I'm saying that is backwards. That is like teaching someone vocabulary without even letting them hear a sentence. Here is the uncomfortable part. Great jazz standards already contain the improvisation blueprint inside the melody. Fly me to the moon, all the things you are, autumn leaves. These melodies are not random, they are written to land on specific notes at specific harmonic moments, especially one note, the third. Not because it is theoretical, but because it defines the sounds of the chord. Composers knew this. They built it into the melody. So, when players ignore the melody and jumping straight to scales, they are ignoring the most important information in the tune. This is where I draw the line. Jazz guitar is not learned by asking what scale fits this chord. Jazz guitar is learned by asking what is the melody doing here and why. Harmony supports melody. Melody does not decorate harmony. If your improvisation doesn't sing, it does not matter how advanced your theory is. This is why players with less theory often sound more musical. They are reacting to melodic gravity, not harmonic options. So let's see the example, the all the things you are. I will play the melody and the bass notes only, but pretty much you can hear the song even without the whole chords because the melody dictates the harmony. Can you hear? Right? And the next part, third, third, third. Okay? So, excuse me. The structure in this tune, the melody and the third is the same note every single chord. Right? But melody is octave higher than these chord tones, the guide tone movement. So first, I do not think about scales. I do not even think about 251. I look at where the melody lands. The melody is already telling me this note matters here. That is my target, where I need to go to the next measure. That note is almost always connected to the guide tones of the harmony. This is not theory, this is observation. The melody already solved the problem. Now, once you truly understand why the melody works, the upper structures stop being abstract. They do not feel like advanced theory. They feel like expanded melody. What people call upper structure is simply melody thinking applied vertically. That is why it sounds musical when it is right and mechanical when it is forced. Okay, let me show you what this upper structure mean on the guitar. So the first chord, F minor 7, if we don't play the root and add 9 and the fifths on top, this is A flat major 7 drop 2 voicing, and we are playing this West 9. Out of this upper structure chord, we transfer that information to the linear line. And the second chord, we're going to the B flat minor, which is, if we don't play the root, add fifth and the ninth on top. This is D flat major 7, and we play Django line. This is the famous gypsy guitarist, two finger. And then when we go to the next chord, which is E flat 7, the voice leading is just half step below, one note going half step down, which is the fifth of the D flat major 7. So we call it a D flat major 7 flat 5, and we already hit this note when this measure starts, because that is our melody. This is our melody on the third measure, right? Right? So once we play the most important note, the voice lead notes already, then we just stay the same in the Django line, right? So up to that point, I would play like, and then I already reserved to the next chord already. The one chord A flat major 7 with the third being my target, but look at the line. Did I go somewhere else? No, I came back to the first line, which is A flat major 7 west line, right? So I start from the melody notes and go to the next melody notes and next melody notes, next melody notes. But in between, I am playing over west line, Django line, and reserve to the west line. Finally, once melody and structure are clear, octave displacement becomes obvious. This is where Django line and west line live. I already show you how this all works. Not as licks, not as patterns, but as melodic expansion across the fretboard. Same idea, same gravity, different registers. That is why it sounds inevitable when Wes plays it. Here's my challenge to you. If you remove scales from your practice for 1 week and focus only on melody, target notes, singing before playing, You will learn more about jazz than 6 months of scale practice. Most players won't try this, not because it doesn't work, but because it exposes how little they actually hear, and that is uncomfortable. If this way of thinking makes you uncomfortable, good. That means you are close to something real. If you want to understand this foundation clearly, start with essential building blocks. It is free, it is structured, and it will reset how you hear jazz guitar. I will put the links down below in the description section. If you go there, there's 2 hours of free lesson. Only what you only need to do is just register to my website. And there's categorized everything, shell voicing, and rest line, Django line, upper structure, drop two voicings. And then you can also have the free PDF file. And if you want to see how this logic works inside real solos, real tunes, and real lines, jazz icon with insight exists for one reason: to show you how this melodic logic survives at the highest level. No fluff, no scale gymnastics, just music. In that West Insight, I transcribed Wes Montgomery playing Fly Me to the Moon, All the Things You Are, and Autumn Leaves. This Autumn Leaves of Wes playing is not published recording, so I cannot share everything, but I just played and transcribed one chorus of his solo, and I show you how his line, his logic works on these iconic tunes. In the next episode, I am going to stop challenging you and start leading you. Because once the illusion is gone, what is left is direction. I will see you there. Until I see you, keep swinging. Thank you.